Gefechtsstation.
Greetings, folks. Iolair here with the next installment in this channel series of World of Warships Division replays. Today we're featuring a match with Lynn Wilkie and myself in Tier 10 ships. This was Lynn's last match of the day a couple of days ago, and so is a, quote, Nightcap, thus the title of the video. He elected to go with one of his favorite ships, the Soviet gunboat destroyer Khabarovsk. I, in turn, am taking one of my favorite ships, the German heavy cruiser Hindenburg. The channel's division replays have become quite popular, so if you like this type of replay and would like to see more, or if you think you may have missed a previous division replay, I've left a link, to a playlist of this channel's division replays in the description below, and I do update that playlist as new division replays are brought to the channel. We are in a domination match on shards. Each team has one Tier 10 aircraft carrier, and the opposing team has a very strong division with two Khabarovsks. It's bad enough dealing with just one, let alone two. And there are also a number of other strong contributors on both teams, and I'll call that out during the game. Lynn's ship is commanded by Viktor Znamensky. He leverages a couple of the buff skills, preventative maintenance and expert marksman. He does take the Khabarovsk unique upgrade, and he takes the AA guns modification in slot 3, to improve his AA, which is clearly very useful in the current meta with so many carriers in game nowadays. My ship build has not changed much, with one important exception. I have changed the slot 4 upgrade from the damage control systems to the steering gears modification 2, and this gives me essentially a double rudder shift. And that is definitely going to come in helpful during this match, and we'll get to that soon enough. I do have to obviously trade off some reduction in the duration of fires and floods. My fires and floods will last a little bit longer, but I have found that having the double rudder shift helps me out in kiting and long-range artillery situations, which will be quite prevalent in this match. So unlike many of the more recent replays on the channel, which have been quite short or abbreviated matches, this match is going to go the distance. We are going to go the full 20 minutes. It is a very good match, so hopefully I can keep your attention for that. And this match for me personally represents why I like playing the game, because not only is the game very well played by both teams, and the teams stay very close to each other in terms of the points and ships, but there's also good sportsmanship expressed by both teams. So this is, I think, a very good example of that. So we're going to open up the gameplay. Initially was with myself as we were moving into the Charlie cap and took Charlie, and now we switch to Lynn's perspective in the Khabarovsk, where he's going to move south and more westward to engage the Iolair, which is going to be one of the opposing ships that's going to do a very good job for his team today, and try to help keep Bravo from being taken by the opposing team. Now, one very important tactical matter in this game that's going to play a pivotal role in how things play out is the importance of not leaving a flank open. So in these 3-point domination games, in my opinion, while the team may concentrate on 2 points, usually it's one of the points on the side as well as the center, it's important not to leave the flank open on the 3rd point. And unfortunately, both teams will kind of leave their 3rd flank or one of their flanks open as a result. And in our case, we're going to kind of leave the flank open on the west and south side and allow the opposing Khabarovsks and some of their allies to move up the west side of the map. And then conversely, our team will take advantage of the fact that the opposing team will leave their east flank open, and that will allow myself in the Hindenburg as well as an allied Neptune, which you can see is in the Charlie cap right now, to be able to move down the east side of the map and keep pressure from that side through some long-range artillery. So Lynn, again, has moved closer to the Bravo cap and has put a fire on the Alaska, and that's going to be crucial here because the Alaska is a terrific ship. It almost borders on being a battleship, but it has 60-second duration fires like real battleships do, or ships that are classified as battleships. And that is going to doom the Alaska, and Lynn is going to claim first blood for our team. In fact, there is the radar from the Alaska, but it's simply going to be too late. So right now the teams are very even. We're even on ships. We're within a few points of each other. We both control one cap, and we're both fighting over the getting center map control, which is exactly how things should kind of play out in a lot of ways when you have two teams that are have very similar capabilities or skills between the players. So Lin is putting pressure on trying to keep these opposing battleships from being able to push into Bravo. And now we're going to switch to my perspective in the Hindenburg, because myself and the Neptune are now reaching flank position. And we're going to be able to put basically unopposed fire on these opposing ships that are in the center of the map, both the Bismarck and the Große Kurfürst. Our main challenge in terms of being able to continue to press this flank will actually be the opposing Minotaur, which you can see in the, I believe that's the Hotel 6 or Hotel, yeah, I think that's the Hotel 6 sector. So there's going to be a limit as to how far we can push down here, but we're going to be able to get far enough south to be able to keep the pressure on the center of the map. The Bismarck has had to peel off. The Große Kurfürst is not able to push in much further. The opposing Iolair, which had been near the Bravo cap, is still in that area. And in fact, you can see the Haragumo is now starting to move up the west flank. But also crucially, I mentioned this duo in the Khabarovsk players are on, you can see they're on the one line, and they are basically making things very difficult for any of our ships that are on the west side, trying to help sort of keep the presence on the west side. We have a Yamato that's having to peel away, who's on the Bravo 5 sector, and he's having to move east. We have a couple of ships that are on the northwest side of Bravo, and they're going to come under fire from the Khabarovsk as well. And then here I talked about how far down south we would be limited to be able to push on this flank, and that's exactly because, again, of this Minotaur. So I've had to slow here because I don't want to be taking a lot of broadside shots from the Minotaur. And then Lin in the Khabarovsk that you can see on my starboard side is actually going to move south and help draw some of the fire from the Minotaur. And I'm just going to hold station here and continue to focus the battleships that are in the center of the map. The only ship at this point, again, that's targeting me is the Minotaur. We do take down the Große Kurfürst. And I'm going to get a few more salvos out here on the Bismarck. I did fire AP there because it looked like he was going to go broadside, but he turned back in. I'm going to get another shot out here. I think it's not this salvo. I think it's the next one. I'm going to finish off the Bismarck for my first kill of the game. So, again, the situation is relatively even. We do have a 2-ship deficit. That is going to change here fairly soon because we are going to sink this Bismarck quite soon. And there's the sinking of the Bismarck. And then you can see the Iolair and the Montana, the opposing, are continuing to push in. The next target is going to be the opposing Chapayev. And we're going to switch to Lin's view as he's pushed off the Minotaur. Lin is burning in 2 places. I think he took a dive bomb from the opposing carrier. And so he's got a couple of fires burning on him. But we are going to turn our attention now to this Chapayev. Now, in my opinion, this Chapayev is significantly overextended. It is very cool that he's using the Halloween camo. But he does not have the right support. An allied battleship and preferably a destroyer as well should be pushing in, and he should be providing support, but he shouldn't be trying to drive the cap the way that he is. And between fire that's coming from myself, in fact, you can just see some shells flying overhead there. That's from me. I had gotten a couple of good salvos on him, took out probably about a third or half of his health, and then Lin and I are going to finish off the Chapayev here quite soon. So that is going to end up evening the ship count, and again, neither team is going to have control on Bravo, and there Lin finishes off the Chapayev. So the teams are very close. We're within a few points of each other. Neither team has control of Bravo. We're going to switch to my perspective in the Hindenburg as the opposing Montana is now pushing into the Bravo cap. Now, this is a place where it's important to have teams coordinate their pushes into caps. If you have ships pushing in individually that can be easily spotted, they're just going to get picked off. And basically the cap becomes kind of a kill zone. And then the team just focuses each ship as it pushes into the cap instead of having a large mass move into the cap and being able to muscle any opposition that is in the cap or around the cap. So the Montana has now isolated himself. He's taking torpedoes from the carrier. He's taking shots from me and from Lynn. And this is where the double rudder shift for me is coming in very useful, because not only is it allowing me to turn out much more efficiently when he does fire on me. In fact, you can notice he sent a couple of salvos, but now is no longer targeting me. The double rudder shift allows me to turn back in to get all my guns back in action much more efficiently. So right now I am willing to trade off having fires and floods last a few more seconds and have this double rudder shift. It gives me much better efficacy in kiting situations like this. And there I get another fire on the Montana. And to me, I've liked playing this way much more over the last few weeks. So it's definitely worked well. So again, we're going to focus down the Montana here. But the one thing that's really crucial is that the opposing team has successfully secured Bravo now. They got enough ships that did coordinate into getting into Bravo simultaneously. And there was no way we were able to get resets on all of the opposing ships that were in Bravo. So they now have that cap. And again, they are starting to get a lead now. We are going to sink the Montana here. That's going to give us a small lead. In fact, it was the Neptune. I have to give a shout out to our allied Neptune, because he was able to, because they left the flank open, the opposing team left the flank open on the east side. This Neptune we've just switched to Lynn's perspective in the Khabarovsk as he's moving towards Bravo. The Neptune has been very effective because he's had essentially no torpedo or radar threats that he's had to contend with. And so he's been able to operate more or less in open waters. So the tactical situation again is we're even on ships, but we have the cap deficit. And so the plan that Lynn and I have is that Lynn is going to head south to Alpha and try to secure back cap at Alpha. I'm going to move more northward to try to take out at least one of the three destroyers, the Iolair or one of the two Khabarovsks, and also be able to support Charlie and our carrier, which are quite close to Charlie. We're going to switch back to my perspective as I'm closing in on the opposing destroyers that are in Bravo. I had hoped that I would be able to make this approach completely undetected and then basically ambush them. But unfortunately, the smoke screen did not extend quite far enough, and the opposing Ghorm was able to detect me. So they know I'm coming. I have been targeted. I'm going to switch to the Iolair that's now come out from behind the island. And obviously I'm going to have Hydro running here because I can fully anticipate torpedoes. And there is the opposing Minotaur. It actually turns out that this Minotaur is a radar Minotaur, and he's working very well from concealment. Again, I really don't want to give him a lot of side. I'm going to have to turn back out here because I don't want to get focused by the destroyers that are pushing up. You can see there's a very coordinated push here by these three destroyers, the Iolair and the two Khabarovsks, as well as the allied Ghorm, to push to Charlie, and they're doing a really good job. I'm going to switch to Lynn's view, and Lynn, the very thing that he was worried about does transpire, which is he runs into the opposing Minotaur at point-blank range. He did know the Minotaur was in the general area, but we felt pressured to get the cap. And there you can see he's now being detected by radar, although obviously he's detected at the surface level. But this is where, again, we realize that the Minotaur is radar. Lynn is trying to get away, and he is also trying not to give the Minotaur too much side, but he ends up grounding. But fortunately, the way that he ends up grounding is almost the perfect angle to deflect most of these shells. He gets a torpedo on the opposing Minotaur to take out most of the health of the Minotaur. Minotaur is pushing back in here and presumably is looking to send torpedoes. And this is a mistake that, in my opinion, the Minotaur is making. Not only can cruisers and battleships Citadel the Minotaur, Khabarovsk can quite easily as well. Lin's had some very impressive near dev strikes on opposing Minotaurs, getting well in excess of 10 Citadel hits within a couple of salvos. In that case, he doesn't need quite that much firepower, but he is able to take out the Minotaur, and he is going to take Alpha. I'm going to switch back to my perspective as, again, I've moved up here to try to defend Charlie. We're going to lose Charlie. Our ally Neptune is now going to move to Bravo, so at least we start backcapping there while Lin is at Alpha, but the Neptune is obviously coming under attack from the opposing aircraft carrier. Switch my fire here to the Ghorm, which has come out broadside to me at the cap. Going to get a Citadel here, and there's Confederate achievement. I'm going to get one more salvo off. He's starting to turn in here, but he's low enough health that even just a couple of overpens should be enough to secure a kill, which it does. And so now we have a one-ship advantage, but we have no caps. And Lin is just about to get Alpha. Here, again, I'm looking to provide some insulation against the Khabarovsks. Get a pretty good salvo there on him with taking out his engine and I think one of his torpedo tubes. And I'm going to continue to kite these guys. Now, again, my fires last, I don't know, something like 13 seconds, or something ridiculously short. But two Khabarovsks working on me at the same time can erode me very quickly. And in a little bit, I'm going to actually, after turning away, I'm going to actually turn back around. And here I'm making this turn. This is a mistake. So two Khabarovsks, and right now we can only see one, but the other one is going to engage here very shortly, can chew up a heavy cruiser really quickly, especially if they have IFHE. This is actually an important reason why to carry IFHE, because it allows Khabarovsks to do very consistent damage to heavy cruisers at the top tiers. So this is a mistake for me to be turning back in. I was looking to continue to provide some pressure on these Khabarovsks to keep them sort of at bay, but they've chewed me up pretty quickly. I am going to have a repair party that's going to come up here in about 15 seconds, and you can see in chat that people are saying I should have just turned away. They are correct. That this was a misplay on my part to be continuing to try to press into the Khabarovsks. We do get one that is just about to peel away, and he obviously has the unique upgrade because he's firing from beyond 40 kilometers. And it's going to be these other more easterly Khabarovsk that's going to continue to be able to try to hit me. So I do get my repair party going. The Khabarovsk that is in Charlie is being pursued by the opposing carrier, which is definitely helping me so that I don't take more fire from him. Although at this point, I think I'm probably outside his reach. And what is going to save my bacon here is actually Lin, who's going to come in and cross past me and is going to start drawing the fire from this other more healthy Khabarovsk player. So I do, again, need to provide a lot of compliments to the opposing team. They played this really well. We had a number of players on our team as well. The Neptune, our aircraft carrier, most notably, were really instrumental in us staying in this fight. We are still technically behind, but we do hold two caps, and there the Midway is able to finish off the lower health of the two Khabarovsks. Now we've switched to Lin's view, where he's going to help sort of draw the fire from me, or draw the fire from this Khabarovsk that's against me. And I'm going to continue to sort of kite the Khabarovsk, but the Khabarovsk is now going to be trying to focus Lin, which is going to be a harder target for him to hit. And frankly, it's going to be pretty hard for Lin to hit the opposing Khabarovsk. So this is definitely turning into a kind of a funny gun battle. So good game all around. We are going to win this. In fact, the Midway is going to come in here with some bombers and is going to sink the low health Khabarovsk, or this Khabarovsk as well, and that will definitely secure the win for us. So a very well played match, both teams. You can see the good games being called out. I will tell the opposing Khabarovsk players that I'm complimenting them because they did play this exceptionally well, and the time is going to run out here in just a few seconds. So an exceptionally good match. Like I said, this is precisely why I play this game. This is the type of thing I like having in the game. It's really very fun. So with that, Lynn and I come in top XP, which was nice. Like I said, the Neptune and the Midway on our team did very well. The Khabarovsks, the Midway, the Minotaur, the Udaloy on the opposing team also did very well. Really made this a huge challenge and a very fun match to play. So I'll leave the results up from both Lynn and myself for you to peruse at your leisure. I certainly hope you enjoyed the replay and the commentary. If you like this type of content, feel free to share it around. If you're inclined, please subscribe. And with that, please do leave your comments below. We hope to see you out there, and we wish you happy sailing.